What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. I'm Jay. They call me the Digital Fisherman. Today I'm going to be going over 5 things you need to get started if you want to start to fish. So, first of all, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you can do me a favor, subscribe, like, comment. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I will be more than welcome to answer anything that you need. I fish for everything. I know a little bit about freshwater, saltwater, and I can answer a lot of questions if you have them. So let's get started. There's 5 things you need if you want to get started fishing. The biggest one, or one of the biggest ones you want, is what do you want to fish for? That's number one. What kind of fish do you want to fish for? And the reason why I say that is because that's going to determine what kind of gear you're going to need, right? So if you want to fish for big fish, you're going to need the gear that accommodates that. If you want to fish for little fish, that's fine. You're going to be able to match what you're fishing for. So today I'm going to go over like a basic combination, like that'll cover some small and big fish as well. So number one is, what do you want to fish for? That's number one. That's going to tell you what you want to do. Freshwater, saltwater. Do you want to fish for panfish, bass, salmon, trout, etc. Number two is, you're going to need equipment. You're going to need gear, right? That means a rod and reel. So today we're going to be using, for example, what I use, I like to fish for bluegill, and I also catch bass with this rod. So what this is a rod and reel, right? That's what you're going to need in order to go fishing. So, and depending upon the size, you'll be able to catch the fish that you want, right? Also, you're going to need line. So those 3 things go together. So once you find out what you want to fish for, you'll get a rod that will be able to match what you're looking for. This is a 5.5 foot micro light rod, because bluegill maybe get 2 or 3 pounds, so you want to use something like that. And then I have a nice about 6 pound test line, and then the reel that will accommodate that. This holds about 200 yards, which you really don't need that much, but you know what I mean. Like, you can cast as far as you want to too. And so that's what you're gonna need. That's number 2. You're gonna need gear. Rod, reel, line. Number 3 is obvious. You're gonna need a hook, because you're not gonna catch any fish if you don't have a hook on your line, right? So there's a couple of different ways you can use it. There's different hooks you can have as well. Like just a basic hook that you can put a worm on, and that way you can catch everything eats a worm. Everything. Like, you catch all kinds of fish on worm, right? And they'll use a hook similar to this. These are small, because like I said, I like to fish for bluegill, so I use little hooks because they have little mouths. So when you're figuring out what you want to fish for, let's get one out of the package here. This is a very small hook. Oop, I think it's gone. So this is a size 10 Aberdeen hook, if you can see that real close to the camera there. See, this is a very small hook, and what I would put on that would be a bait. You need bait. That would be number 3, by the way. And it will be something that looks like this. Now this is artificial, but this will tell you some of the bait that I use for bluegill. You can see that. And then you would put this on the hook like this, feed it through, and I imagine this hook being on your pole, obviously, right? And then I would cast that out, and I would catch bluegill. And bluegill like these little, they're called wax worms. These are imitating wax worms, right? So that's what you're gonna need in order to catch. For me, I like to catch, like I said, I like to catch bluegill. So that's what I'll have. If you want to catch bigger fish, use bigger bait, use bigger hooks, etc. Right? Or you can use something that's artificial. You don't have, that's artificial there, but I'm saying you can use wax worms, real wax worms. I use that as an example because that's what wax worms look like, right? Or you can use fake worms or artificial lures, which this is an example. Now, this is actually too big for the rod that I'm using, but if you want to catch bass, which are a little bigger, they like lures that are artificial. This is, this goes on top of the water, and this is called a whopper, or like a plopper. And this spins, and it makes a lot of noise on top of the water. So this attracts big bass, because bass are very aggressive and they attack on all levels, and you can catch them on top of the water. So you can use artificial, or you can use reel, but you got to have hook. That's number 3. Number 4 is location. So where do you want to go fishing? There are ponds. If you have somebody that has a private pond, those are great to get started. There are lakes. There's a bunch of lakes. I live in Northern California, so there are lakes within an hour where I'm at. You can go fishing within 15, 20 minutes or hour and a half. I have water all around me, so you can go to ponds or lakes, or we have a delta system that has lots. They're like a maze of creeks that go all around down the San Joaquin area, and they go all the way out to the ocean. And that's how the salmon come up, and the striper come up, and the shad come up. They make their way through the delta. So you can go fish there. That's a great place for all different types of fish, from bluegill, to bass, to catfish, to shad, the striper. You can catch a bunch of different things. Or if you want to fish for the ocean fish, you can go out. We have a bay an hour and a half away from me. I can go down to San Francisco. I can fish off of a boat, and you need bigger gear, and you need bigger baits and all that. So it depends on what size of fish you're fishing for. You need the gear to go with that, right? So that is number 4. Number 5 is you're gonna need a license, because in California you need a fishing license if you're over the age of 18. If you have kids, they don't need a license until they're 16 years old. But if you're 16 or over, you need a license. And we have a lot of different additions to the license. So you can get one license, and we also have what they call a 2-pole license, where you pay extra so you can fish for 2 poles at the same time. And then we have a lot of different stamps that you can get out here for, like sturgeon. You can get a stamp for a sturgeon. There's different things that you can use. But for the most part, a basic license will cover a lot of fish, right? And so that will be number 5. You want to have a license. So number 1 is, where do you want to go fishing? Number 2 is, you need gear. So what do you want to fish for? I'm sorry. Number 1 is, what do you want to fish for, right? Number 2 is going to be able to tell you what kind of gear you're going to use for that. Number 3 is the rod, the reel, and the line. Number 4 is the hook or the bait. Number 5 is the license. So with all of those things, you can get started and be on the water within a day. So hopefully this information helped you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Like I said, if you're new to my channel, I'm Jay. This is Digital Fisherman. Welcome. It'll be down, and I'll put it down in the link in the comments. You can put the questions in my comments, and I'll answer them. And like I said, hopefully this information helped you, helped me grow my channel. I appreciate everybody. Thanks again, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great and powerful day.